Good evening, Supernaturals. So I thought I'd do a bit of a reading this evening. I've been meaning to do this for ages, but now we're all on lockdown in our homes. I'd use this opportunity to entertain you a little bit and read from Immortal Creatures, which is probably backwards there. Feels a bit of a weird time, isn't it, at the moment? I feel like I'm in an episode of V-Wars, and I really enjoyed V-Wars, but I want to live it. So, but without further ado, Immortal Creatures is dark urban fantasy, which it sort of resembles horror. It's not quite as bad as horror, but this is definitely not suitable for children or people of a nervous disposition. So now I've got that cleared up. If you want to settle down and get comfortable, I'll read a little bit of this. If you enjoy this and you want more, shoot me a like or a smiley face or something and leave a comment. I don't really know how much I'm going to read. I've got a bit of a dry throat, not the virus. It always happens when you're going to go live and read. And we'll go from there, probably about 10-15 minutes. And if you want more, I'd say just shoot it in the comments and I'll read some more. Okay, so this is Immortal Creatures. It's a dark urban fantasy book I wrote and was released last year. It's one of a trilogy. It's set in Bristol, in England. The blade was lodged in the beast's skin. Tugging at the knife, Eloise grunted fiercely as she dragged it out, sinew and flesh pouring forth. Looking down at her body, splattered in blood, puffing, glancing cautiously around. God knows how nobody had seen her. This stretch of woodland was tiny, sitting on the outskirts of a high-rise estate in a rougher part of the city. The banshee writhed and moaned, its voice strangled in pain and shock. Blood trickled from its mouth as it choked and gargled on its own blood, laying in the dirty undergrowth. Then it burst in a cloud of crimson soot, smattering the sparse foliage with red and silver flecks of dust that gleamed like glitter under the dappled light of the afternoon sun. Her eyes darting around, she hoped she could get back to her car unseen. She usually didn't hunt during the day, but then she hadn't come here to kill. And she hadn't been pursuing the banshee. In fact, she was stalking something else. Just 2 months ago, her life was normal. She'd been a paramedic and, with her partner, had been called to this stretch of wood after a resident from the estate had come here for some reason. When they saw him, her gut told her to hang back. She didn't, because the victim had a gaping wound on his arm. And as her partner, Damien, had treated the man, triage, ready for admission, the patient had bitten her. Patients often did crazy things. Shock is hard to control. But from that very first bite, her mind buzzed as if drunk and her legs shook. It was always a risk. Junkies with their list of diseases, avoiding contamination was part of the training. But she checked, the blood work had been fine. She had no infection. But days later, the dreams had come, waking her up every night. Dreams of being chased, being eaten by something so macabre, her mind had problems processing it. The shrink had said it was shock, but Eloise had dealt with far worse accidents. That was bullshit. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw things she'd never seen before, strange things like people, animals, and, wherever she went, flickering lights. The dreams got worse and became so vivid. She felt like she was running through the city, trying not to lose her footing, panting, sweating, her heart thundering against her chest. Something had changed like an impending storm. She felt a presence close to her since that bite, and she quickly became sleep-deprived. She was a quick study of the occult, researching ghosts, demons, and more. She didn't want to believe it. But the only explanation was that she was losing her mind. If that were true, there would have been other signs. Going crazy rarely happened overnight. The patient's statement was garbled nonsense, talking of a monster, blood, and being stalked. But still, she looked for it. For something, for answers. until she could take no more. Then she came back during the day and on her own, but armed with weapons she'd read about that could help. Thank God for the internet, even if she wasn't really sure they would work. Fuck, you're becoming one hell of a hunter. A banshee? Jason grinned as he appeared without a sound from the wood. I thought you didn't come out during the day. I assumed you'd be in your lair, lying in your coffin, Eloise questioned, surprised to see him. As a rule, I wouldn't be out in the sun, but I had a premonition about you. You know, same old. I see I didn't need to come. You're doing just fine. Yeah, but we both know I wasn't looking for a banshee. That thing is still out here somewhere, preying on people. Anyway, monsters are easy. People aren't. I've been bitten, puked on, attacked, kicked. And that was just the patients and onlookers. At least with these beasts you know where you are. No stabbing you in the back. Biting her lip to hold in her anger, she thought about what had changed her from a tough paramedic to monster killer. The attack on her partner Damien. Although he was still alive, he was currently housed in the safety of a mental health unit after being found by Jason. Damien was about to be eaten alive, his ribs smashed in and black and blue from a brutal attack. After that, revenge became her only cause, as well as taking her mind off the other craziness happening around her. You should never work when you've booked a day off. You know, she muttered to Jason. That's how this begun. The day she was bitten, the day she was covering for someone else. I think I'm going to leave it there, people. But if you enjoyed that, shoot me a like, shoot me some comments, and I'll see you maybe tomorrow, depending on you. And have a great evening. Bye.